Hi, today we'll be talking about Tourette's or Tourette syndrome. Tourette is a neurodevelopment condition that causes involuntary motor tics or vocal tics. Now, the causes of Tourette's is not exactly known. There are some theories that include bacterial infections or genetic factors. Now, obviously, I have Tourette's. I've had it since I was a child, and it's gotten worse and better over the years. It kind of goes in waves. I don't know what the cause of my Tourette's are, but I have a huge assumption that it's from all the surgeries and all the stress. And one of the main questions I get with my Tourette's is, what does it feel like, and why can't you control it? Why, wish I could. And the best way that I can explain what it feels like to me is like when you have a sneeze and you can feel it coming, but you can't control it. You might be able to hold it, but you didn't make the sneeze appear, it just appeared. And I cannot get rid of my Tourette's. They're going to be with me for the rest of my life. But I can suppress them or kind of manipulate my brain into doing a different tic. So one of my tics that I have is that my eyes blink very hard. So I'll go like this and then open and go like this. And especially when I am driving, that is a very bad tic to have. And when I feel the tic happening, it's sort of like the sensation of you feeling like a sneeze is about to happen. And I technically can hold my eyes open for as long as I can, kind of fighting my own brain. And when I'm driving, I have to do as much as I can. Hold off and long enough for the tic spasm to calm down, or focus on a different tic will make that one stop. And I will go over all my different tics, the ones I used to have, but just for this example, if my eyes start squeezing really hard, I have a verbal tic, only like one, and I will start making myself forcefully do that tic in order for my brain to stop focusing on my eyes. There are times where it doesn't work. There are times where I cannot suppress it or make my brain go into a different tic. Sometimes I just have to experience it. But that's really all you can do in the situation. And what I just previously said kind of plays into the whole why can't you stop the tic. But another analogy is you cannot not blink. If you think about it, sure, you can hold your eyes open, but you're gonna blink and you don't realize you're blinking. You can't control how much you blink, at least unless you're Wednesday Addams. It's not really in your handbook. So just like you can't control it or realize you're doing it, the Tourette's are the same way. There are many times where I didn't realize I was ticking because it's just happening until I look down and realize my hand is trying to punch myself in the face, And everyone is different with their conditions, but for me at least, I love talking about them, obviously. Not excessively, because they're not all of me, they're just a part of me. But I think they're fascinating, and I love questions, because I try to take everything as curiosity. And I have a lot of people that ask me questions, and they sound rude, like the why don't you just stop? And again, I try to just take it as curiosity, because why not? Now for what tics I have and kind of the journey that I've gone on them. They started as long as I can remember, like 7, 8. And the first one I ever had was my neck jolting. So I'd go through this over and over again. And another one, which was a verbal tic, which is very surprising since I have the least amount of those, was me continuously saying T, like very annoying. And if you know what OCD is, which I also have, that's a whole other story. The sensation of Tourette's is very similar to OCD, because with OCD you have to do something until it feels right, until the OCD stops. I don't know how to explain. If you have to turn a door handle 3 times and then have the correct amount of pressure in your hand, I know not everyone experiences this, but you cannot usually stop the OCD from happening until you satisfy those urges. And a lot of time with Tourette's, it's the same way. So I would just be saying T until it like felt enough pressure on a certain part of my mouth, or it said at a certain tone that it like satisfied the Tourette till it stopped. I really don't know how to explain this very well because it's such an obscure thing, but that's the best analogy I can give you. And eventually it kind of got worse. I started having my leg twitch a lot before my leg damage. Obviously, I had eventually gotten the blinking one. Definitely a lot of motor tics, like my hand flying randomly. And at about 15 years old, I developed my pretty much only vocal tic, which was me squeaking like a mouse, but I like over and over again. And I hate verbal tics because with the motor ones, you can kind of hide it. Like if your fucking hand is losing its shit, shove it in a pocket, you know? But the verbal tics don't care where you are. And the amount of times I've been in a restaurant or a grocery line and I start squeaking, and it's very loud. When I tell you can hear it across the building, it is very loud. And I don't know, I just have to wait until it's done. I've had a lot of funny interactions with it. It is pretty funny because it's such a strange noise. And one of my favorite interactions with it, I was in a car back in the day with a bunch of people, and one of my tics started going, and the driver knew they had already experienced my Tourette's, but the people in the back, they didn't know me. They did not know anything. And I started ticking. And it's pretty silent for a little bit, and then one of the people in the back go, "Hey, I think something's wrong with your car. I think I'm hearing a weird noise come from it, like a squeaking sound." I busted out laughing, and I had to like turn around and explain it was coming from me. But just silly interactions like that definitely make it less of a heavy thing to experience. And yeah, so, and they kind of alternate. Like sometimes my shoulder will jolt a bunch of times, sometimes my foot won't stop twitching, and they kind of alternate. And for me at least, the more stressed I am, the more I look like a goddamn circus act because I'm squeaking over here, I'm trying to punch myself in the face over here. Stress is my biggest instigator, which is definitely a pain in my ass since I'm usually always stressed. And I will add this because it is a new symptom, but I have not gone to doctors. I have not talked to anyone about it yet, so I don't exactly know. So you're just as blind as me. My Tourette's have always changed throughout the years and as different things have happened. But as of recently, I've been getting a new tic, and it's in my hand, and I haven't experienced it like before because usually my tics were like this, like a weird repetitive movement. But this tic is these 3 fingers and they're locked. And usually it's my entire hand and I cannot open them. Physically, sure, but it's still very, very difficult. It's like if you were to get a cramp in your hand, except there's no cramp, I just can't move my hand. Or if it's not these 3 fingers, my wrist will go like this. And my hand will be stuck like this. And even doing this now is making my hand trying to go into an episode. But I don't know what that is. And my mom is a little concerned it might be neurological. I mean, all Tourette's are, neurological, but like a little more extreme than just Tourette's. I'm not exactly sure. Apparently my grandpa had it. Grandpa is no longer here with us, so we can't really ask him. I'm definitely making note to the doctors and ask about that. For my emotions on having Tourette's, I try to think of it as very funny since, most of it is like, what are you gonna do? It's not like I can control it, so oh well. But I will say Tourette's are very, very painful. It's not usually just like blinking like the eye one. I am squeezing my eyelids so far, I feel like my eyes are gonna roll back into my skull. Or when it comes to squeaking, sometimes I squeak so much that my voice is cracking because I'm like destroying my vocal cords at that time. Or my hand, when my hand is cramping. Oh, it's not fun, especially if they go on for more than a few minutes. Some of my tics only last 1 or 2 seconds because they do a quick movement and they're done. Sometimes they can last for 10 minutes. And that's usually not a fun time. But I also have not done much research, to be honest. Most of my conditions, I have not done much research because I really don't care to. I probably should, but I am way too busy and just, I don't know, I always have these weird relationships with my conditions of if I don't look at it, it's not there type of thing. And I think it's just, I've had it my whole entire life. So it's not this weird phenomenon I need to get researched and try to fix. It's just a part of me. It's always how I've worked. It's always something I've experienced, so I don't really care to do much more about it. Until unless it progresses like the hand thing, then, maybe I will check it out. But other than that, I just see it as part of me. People call it Tourette's. Cool. But yeah, those are my experiences with Tourette's. I'm really curious if you have it. I think it is more common and it's definitely much more talked about than it used to be. But it's still just a weird phenomenon us humans have. These damn brains. But yeah, I hope that was informative. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye. 'Cause I found peace.